Chaf Amud Beis will begin Chaf Amud Aleph at the very bottom of the Mishnah. Noshim va'avodim ketanim peturim. Noshim, avodim, slaves of Knani, and ketanim, minors, are peturim. They're parted from the mitzvah of Krishma, or Krishma, uminat tefillin, and they're parted from tefillin. However, v'chayavim b'tefillah, or mezuzah, or birchas hamazon. But they are chayav in davening, and mezuzah, and in benching birchas hamazon. The general principle is that women are parted from a mitzvah's essay, shazman grama. If it's mitzvah's essay, and it's bound by time, it's restricted by time, it has to be done at a particular time of the day or night, then they are parted from that mitzvah. And avodim, kananim, their chiyuv and mitzvahs are like women. So women, noshim va'avodim, are peturim from Krishma, because Krishma is a mitzvah's essay, shazman groma. It has to be said at a particular time of day, and mitzvahs in the daytime, or at night. It's at dafka at night, not in the day, that mitzvah. It's a mitzvah's essay, shazman groma. Women and avodim are peturim. What about ketanim? What about minors? Now, generally speaking, ketanim, even though they're minors, but we have a mitzvah to be mechanech them, to educate them in a manner that they will be chayav at when they become adults. So Rashi therefore says that we're talking over here about a katan shelo yagiel l'chinuch. However, so if he's lo yagiel l'chinuch, we understand he has not reached the age of chinuch, so therefore we don't have to educate him and instruct him. But Rashi adds on, we're talking even by a katan she'yagiel l'chinuch. Even when he's reached the age of chinuch, he is also pater. Why is that? Rashi says, because Krishma, it's at a particular time of day, a particular time of night, the father is not always there for the child. He's not always there to help him and instruct him. So since it has to be done at a particular time of day and night, and the child is not always there with the father's not always there with the child to instruct him, Rashi says, even a katan she'yagiel l'chinuch, who we do instruct him in other mitzvahs, he is parted from Krishma. Taisus Rabbeinu Tam argues and says, no, we're talking over here about a katan shelo yagiel l'chinuch, but if it's yagiel l'chinuch, he is chayav. So noshim v'anav ketanim peturim mikrishma uminat tefillin, and they're also parted from tefillin. So tefillin is also a mitzvah's essay shazman grama. So noshim and avodim are peturim. What about a katan? So Rashi says here a katan is pater because he's not reached the age of maturity to be able to guard himself, to conduct himself in the shmira that's needed for tefillin, to guard his body, and the shmira that's needed for tefillin shelo yafiach behem, and therefore, since he's not at the level to treat the tefillin with the proper kedusha that's required, therefore he's pater. However, they are chayavim b'tefillah with davening and mezuzah and birchas hamazon, as the Gemara will explain. Let's see the Gemara. Krishma pshita. Well, of course, they're parted from Krishma. Krishma is a mitzvah essay shazman grama. Pshita mitzvah essay shazman grama. V'chol mitzvah essay shazman grama. Noshim peturas. The Gemara answers. You might think that even though in a chanami it's a mitzvah essay shazman grama, but it's so insignificant, so important because it's Kabbalah's all malchus shemayim, I might have thought that this would be an exception, mashmalan, that they are still peturas. Uminat tefillin. In fact, the Gemara pshita. Well, of course, that's a mitzvah essay shazman grama. Of course, the peturas. Pshita. The Gemara answers about the same ohel v'eskish l'mezuzah kamashmalan. You might have thought the chayv and mezuzah, as we'll see. Mezuzah is not a mitzvah essay shazman grama. So might have thought, since there's a hekesh, and the pasuk says kshartam ksavta, they're compared to each other. So you might have thought that just like they're chayv and mezuzah, they should be chayv in tefillin. Mashmalan, the Tana has to tell us, no, they are pater from tefillin. V'chayav mitzvah, and they're chayiv in tefillah. Why are they chayiv in tefillah? Because they're rachmin, because that's bakoshes rachmin. It's asking rachmin, and therefore they're chayiv in tefillah. Now there is a girsa, which is our girsa over here. So you might have thought, so the girsa that we have over here, Bach inserts over here that some girsa remove this, as we'll see in a moment. But you might think, as Taisus is garas, that pshita, so therefore it says, since it says Erva Sarayim, it says the morning, the evening, and night. It's kim mitzvah says man groma dame. It's like a mitzvah says man groma, and therefore you might think that they're palter kamash malan, that they're chayiv. Now Rashi is not garis this. Rashi is not garis it because he says that we're not garis pshita. Now what's behind this is that tefillah is a mitzvah says tefillah is really not a mitzvah says man groma. So you're telling me the chayiv and tefillah. So if you look at tefillah on the same level, if you look at it with the same gedorim and the same guidelines as a mitzvah deraisa, then you'll say that tefillah, well, of course the chayiv and tefillah, because tefillah is not a mitzvah shas man grom. You daven a whole day, so of course the chayiv and tefillah. Now Rashi says we are not geiros over here at pshita by tefillah, because davening is a derabbanan. So a mitzvah derabbanan does not have the same guidelines. It doesn't go with the same gedorim as a mitzvah deraisa. So whether it's a mitzvah essay shazman grama or not is not a factor over here, according to Rashi. So Rashi says that tefillah davening is a derabbanan. Whether it's a mitzvah essay shazman grama or not is irrelevant because it's a mitzvah derabbanan. So therefore Rashi says we're not geiros pshita over here. The Chayam v'tefillah, Rashi says, the Ger says, why are the Chayim v'tefillah? Why did the Rabbanan, why were they Machayim v'tefillah? Because the Rachmim, because it's asking Rachmim. And asking Rachmim, women have to ask Rachmim just like men, so they're Chayim v'tefillah. They're Chayim v'tefillah because it's Rachmim. And that's what the reason it has nothing to do with the mitzvah Sesri Saman Groma, because tefillah is the Rabbanan. Taisus says there is the girsa of pshita, and Taisus says that even though tefillah is a derabbanon, but still we're going as pshita, because pshita that the chayev in tefillah, because tefillah is not a mitzvah shazman groma, it's not time restricted, and therefore, even though it's a derabbanon, but it's not time restricted. The Gemara, therefore, this girsa is, but you might think it's a mitzvah it's a mitzvah shazman groma because it says erev vayikav tzarayim that you beseech Hashem in the morning, the evening, at night. You might think it's considered like musman groma kamash malan. And Taisa says, even though it's a derabbanan, we do find that the derabbanans are also sometimes bound by the same restriction as the deraisa, that if it's Zman groma nashim are peturas, like by halal, and therefore you might have thought that tefillah should be the same way, since it's over there. It's even though it's a derabbanan, but derabbanan sometimes are bound that way, and tefillah is not bound by time, pshita. Therefore, of course, women are chayavas. So therefore, the Gemara says, but you might have thought, since it's there that it is considered Zman groma kamash malan. So that's a difference of Rashi and Taisus, whether we're goyers or not, but they both hold that tefillah davening is a derabbanan. The question is that by a mitzvah derabbanan, do we follow the same gedorim, whether it's Zman groma or not? Rashi says, if it's a derabbanan, Zman groma is not relevant, and therefore, by tefillah, whether it's Zman groma or not, is not an issue. The question is, were the Rabbanan, did they impose a chiyuv of tefillah on women? And we say that we are by tefillah, v'chayavim b'tefillah. Why? Because it's rachmin. They need rachmin. And they need rachmin. Taisus says, even the Rabbanan, it is governed by Zman groma. The Ger says pshita. And you say it's not governed by time, so of course women are chayav. And the Gemara says you might have thought that it is governed by time. Now the sheet of the Rambam is that till is the Raisa. Till is the Raisa. So that according to Rambam, the Girsa Pshita fits in very well because it certainly would be governed by the same rules as other mitzvahs deraisa. Mitzvahs essay shazman groma noshim would be paturas. According to the Rambam, therefore, it's not maud desema. It's in fact, since it says erev b'vakiv tzarayim, that it's not considered a mitzvah essay shazman groma. Mezuzah, and women are chayiv in mezuzah, and avodim and katan mezuzah pshita. Of course, are chayiv mezuzah is the raisa, and it's not time bound. It's not restricted by time. Of course, are chayiv mezuzah pshita. More answers the same whole iskishla Talmud Torah, and by Talmud Torah nashim rapaturas kamash malan. It has to teach me that no, as far as this is concerned, they are chayiv in mezuzah, even though Talmud Torah they're not, but they're chayiv in mezuzah. Birkas hamazon, and they're chayiv in birkas hamazon and benching. Practically more pshita. Practically more amount the same maholaksiv. The says Hashem lachem erev basar lech v'lechem b'boker l'svaya. So it says to give you food in the morning, food in the evening. So you might think that benching is governed by morning and evening. Therefore, Kimitza says, you might have thought that Kamash Malan, that they're chayiv in benching. Amar Rabban Barava, Noshim Chayovas, Big Kiddush Hayom, Dvar Torah, and Kiddush and Shabbos, Midaraisa, Noshim Chayovas. Practically Gemara, why should that be? It's a mitzvah sesay, Shasman Kroma, V'chol mitzvah sesay, Shasman Kroma, Noshim Petura. So why should there be chayiv in Kiddush? Amar Abaya, Midrab. That's what it means. Chanam means a mitzvah sesay, Shasman Kroma. When it says chayiv, means midrabanan. Amalei Rava, how can you say that? Dvar Torah kamar. It says midrash. It says Dvar Torah. Va'oid kol mitzvah say nechayvin midrabanan. And according to you, that the chayiv midrabanan, why should this be different than any other mitzvah say? Why should it be chayiv dafka over here midrabanan? Why not say that elsewhere? Elo amar Rava. No, that's not the pshat. They're chayiv min haTorah. Women are chayiv in Kiddush on Shabbos, Kiddush Hayom, Min Torah. Why is that? It's mitzvah say Shasman Groma. The answer is Amar Kro Zochar v'Shomer. Also it says Zochar v'Shomer. Kol sheyesh b'shmira, yesh b'zechira. Whoever is b'shmira, that they're muzhar not to be over the isurim, the lavim, that they cannot be machal Shabbos, and they have the positive mitzvah of zechira. Women, they are muzhar not to be machal Shabbos. Loisas komalocha alav. Loisas applies to women as well. So the loisas, the shmira of Shabbos applies to women. There's a hakesh. We compare the two together. The zechira, the positive commandments of Shabbos, also apply to women, and therefore kiddush, which is zechira of remembering Shabbos, therefore just like they're in shmira, they have the chiyuv of zechira of making kiddush. So we asked the question: what about benching? The chayiv in benching is a deraisa or the rabbanan? L'may nafkamina. What's the nafkamina l'halacha? The answer is la'afuke. The question la'afuke rabbi midei chayvasa. If you say the chiyuv is the rice in benching, also the rice, mabik the rice, then they can be mitzi a man in benching. A man is chayiv in benching the rice. If women are chayiv the rice, they can be mitzi. But imrad the rabbanan have shein v'chuy b'davar chol shein v'chuy b'davar ein mitzi as a rami dei chayvasan. But if you say it's only the rabbanan, now the rule is that someone who is mechuy b'davar, he has that chiyuv. He's in that category in the parsha of the chiyuv. He can be mitzi somebody else, and even if he was yaitza, he can be mitzi because of arvas. But if someone who was not mechuyev, he didn't have the obligation to begin with, he can't be mitzi somebody. Now, if someone is only mechuyev the rabbanan, he can't be mitzi someone who is mechuyev the raisa, because they're not the same level of chiyuv. So the question is, if women, if they're mechuyev midaraisa, so they have the same level of chiyuv, they can be moitzi a man who's mechuyev midaraisa. But if they're only mechuyev derabanan, they can't be moitzi a man who's mechuyev midaraisa. So what's halacha tashma? Ve'emes amru ben mevorach la'aviv. A son can be moitzi his father with benching, ve'eved mevorach la'rabba, and a slave for his master. Ve'isha mevorach la'balam. And a woman can bench for her husband. Aval, however, amru chachamim tava me'era shekama kuros la'adam she'ishto avanim mevarchim like. For a person who is not himself, is not benching, not capable, or is not benching for himself, and has to have his wife or son bench for him. But strictly speaking, they could. Now, if you say the woman's chiv is deraisa, also deraisa mabik deraisa, we understand how me'ikar din she can be moitzi her husband because she's b'chiv deraisa. She can be moitzi deraisa. Eliyamra derabanan. But if you say her chiv is only derabanan, also derabanan mabik deraisa, how can someone who's only mechuyev derabanan be moitzi someone who's mechuyev deraisa? According to you, cotton bachiyahu. According to you, a cotton certainly is not chayiv midaraisa, and yet it says that the son can be moitzi the father. So how do you explain that? But what we're talking about over here is that the father, the husband, only ate a shiur derabanan. Min ha-Torah, the chiyuv of benching is v'achalta v'savata v'rachta. Only if he ate and filled himself, he satiated himself, then he is mechuyev midaraisa for benching. The Rabbanan, he is mechuyev either a shir of kazayis or a beya, market isle, even if it's a smaller shir, even if he's not v'savata, whether it's a shir of a kazayis or a beya, he is mechuyev midarabanan. So what we're talking about over here is that the husband, the father, did not eat kedei sviyah. He's not mechuyev midaraisa with benching. So therefore, the wife, the woman, the son, could be moitzi because it's a derabanan and a derabanan. So on the same level of chiyuv, it's a derabanan with derabanan, they can be moitzi. So you cannot bring any raya from here whether the woman is chayiv midaraisa or derabanan. Dorish Ravavira, Zim Namar Lamishmei the Ravami, sometimes sending the Ravami, Zim Namar Lamishmei the Ravasi, sometimes the Ravasi, Amru Malach, Yashas, Nekarish Baruch. The Malach was said in front of the Rabbein Shalom, Rabbein Shalom, calls him B'Sayra Secha, the Torah writes, Asher Lo Yisaf, Ani Lo Yikach Sheichad. The Rabbein Shalom does not show any favoritism in din when he judges. But you seem to be showing favoritism to Yisrael. He's showing Yis upon him. He's showing favoritism. It's not favoritism. They deserve it. They deserve special treatment. Why is that? The chiyuv of benching is only if you're saveh, if you're satisfied. As they bench even a smaller share, they take upon themselves greater chiyuvim, so they're deserving of special treatment. Let's see the Mishnah. Balkari mahar balibai. There was the kind of Ezra. The kind of Ezra is that a balkari who is tome should not be oisek b'tayr, and not in tefillah and brachos either. So the Mishnah says a balakari, a person who is a balakari, mahar balibai, he doesn't speak out, he just thinks in his heart. He does not say the brachos of Krishma, not the ones before, not the ones after. And for eating, he benches, he says the bracha after eating, but the bracha rishona he does not say. So the principle is that if it's a deraisa, he does say it. A derabanan, he doesn't. That was at the kind of Ezra. So the birchas Krishma is a derabanan. He doesn't say it. Krishma is a deraisa, he does. Benching after eating is a deraisa, he says it. Bracha rishona is a derabanan, he doesn't say it. Rabbi Yehuda argues and he says no, he does make it both before and after. We'll see in the Gemara why is that so.